Power isn't given, it's taken, and the moment you stop fearing their eyes, you become unstoppable. You think you can walk through this world unnoticed. You think you can be chosen and not be watched. Wake up. Every move you make is under a microscope. Every step you take shakes the ground beneath the weak. They study you like their survival depends on it, because in some ways, it does. Before we go any deeper, it's time to take action. Being chosen isn't just a title, it's a responsibility. The world is full of sleepers, but some are ready to wake up. Help spread this message to those who need to hear it. Hit the like button now. It's not just a click, it's a signal. A signal to YouTube, to the algorithm, to the unseen forces watching that the chosen ones are rising. And don't forget to subscribe, because the truth isn't for everyone. It's only for those strong enough to handle it. Now listen carefully, because this is about you. You've spent too much time wondering why people act strange around you, why they whisper, why they watch, why they imitate. Let me spell it out for you. You make them uncomfortable. Not because of what you say, but because of what you are. You carry something inside you that they can't kill, can't silence, and damn sure can't steal. And that terrifies them. Yet here you are, doubting yourself, shrinking, trying to blend in, as if that will make the eyes go away. Pathetic. The weak will always hate the strong. That's the natural order of things. But you were never meant to blend. You were meant to burn through the fog of mediocrity like a wildfire. And wildfires don't apologize. So why do you keep waiting for permission? They're watching because they want what you have. But let's be honest, they could never handle your burden. They couldn't walk a mile in your shoes without crumbling under the weight of it. Yet, instead of rising, they watch from the shadows, hoping, praying that you will fall. And you, the chosen one, you sit there worrying about their opinions, about their whispers, like a child begging for approval. Let me tell you something. Those eyes on you, they aren't admiration. They are fear disguised as curiosity. They are envy wrapped in fake smiles. They are weakness staring at power and wishing it had the courage to rise. And here's the part that should make your blood boil. They want you to doubt yourself. They want you to dim your light just enough so they can feel safe in their mediocrity. They want you to waste your time questioning, overthinking, hesitating. Because the moment you fully step into who you are, their illusion of control shatters. So stop playing small. Stop apologizing for the power inside you. Stop pretending to be anything less than unstoppable. You weren't chosen to be liked. You were chosen to be feared. They watch because they can't help it. Because no matter how hard they try, they will never be you. Now tell me, are you done being a spectator in your own destiny? Or are you finally ready to step into the fire? And you, yes, you, the one they can't stop watching. Whether you've just found your way here or you've been walking this path with us for a while, know this. Your presence is a warning shot to the weak. They see you rising and they can't stand it. If you're ready to own what sets you apart, silence the noise, and embrace your power like never before, then do what needs to be done. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments if you feel the weight of unseen eyes but refuse to bow to them. And now, let's tear the mask off this illusion and expose the truth, step by step. Believe me, if you're truly chosen, you won't just hear these words. You'll feel them pull you in. Let's begin. Number 1. You are the fire that exposes their shadows. The powerless don't hate power itself. They hate that it exists outside their control. They watch you because you force them to see their own weakness. You, just by existing, strip them of their excuses. Every step you take outside their carefully built cage of mediocrity reminds them that they had a choice too, and they chose comfort over greatness. And now, they can't stand you for it. They spent years making peace with their chains, convincing themselves that this is just how life is: ordinary, predictable, small. Then here you come, walking through fire, standing tall where they would have crumbled, thriving in places they swore were impossible. You don't just threaten their worldview, you burn it to the ground, and they despise you for it. They'll smile in your face, but inside, they're praying you fall. They'll copy your moves, but hate that they have to. They'll act like they don't see you, but their eyes never leave you. And why? Because your existence alone is proof that they were always capable of more, but they never had the courage to claim it. And you sit there wondering why they act this way, wondering why they don't support you, why they gossip, why they doubt, why they secretly hope you fail. Stop being naive. Power comes with enemies. That's the price of being chosen. Me, being the chosen one, never expected love from the weak. Why would I? Why would you? What did you expect? That they would celebrate you? That they would cheer for the person who makes them feel small? No. People don't celebrate reminders of their own cowardice. They either worship it or they try to destroy it. And since they can't destroy you, they watch, waiting for you to destroy yourself. And honestly, some of you are doing their work for them. Look at you, hesitating, questioning yourself, watering yourself down so you don't intimidate them. Pathetic. Since when does a lion care if sheep feel uncomfortable? Since when does a storm hold back its rain just because the weak forgot to bring shelter? You owe them nothing. Your job is not to make them comfortable. Your job is not to explain yourself to those who have already chosen to stay blind. Your only job is to walk in your power, completely and unapologetically. And when they hate you for it, when their stares burn holes into your back, good. That means you're doing something right. That means you're becoming exactly what they fear most. Proof that they never had to live small. Proof that they had a choice. Proof that power is real and that they will never touch it. Let them watch. Let them choke on their excuses. Let them see what it looks like when someone refuses to kneel. Because whether they love you, hate you, or lie to themselves about how they feel, they will never, ever forget you. Number 2, you walk like a king in a world of beggars. A lion doesn't need to announce its presence. The jungle already knows. There's something about you that commands attention, even when you don't say a word. It's not about arrogance, money, or status. It's something deeper, something they can't quite put their finger on, but they feel it every time you walk into the room, and it terrifies them. They are used to power looking a certain way, loud, desperate, attention-seeking. They think influence belongs to those who shout the loudest, demand respect, force their way into the spotlight. But then you show up, and without even trying, without even wanting to, you shift the entire atmosphere. You don't need to beg for respect. It follows you. You don't need to fight for attention. It lands on you. You don't have to prove yourself. They already know. And that confuses them. They don't understand how someone who doesn't chase validation holds more weight than those who do. They can't comprehend why people listen when you speak, even when your words are few. They don't get why, even in your silence, your presence is louder than their screams. And here's the real kicker. Half the time, even you don't see it. You're just living your life, making moves, following your own path, not even thinking about the effect you have on people. But them, they feel it, they sense it, and it eats them alive. Because deep down, they know What you have can't be bought, copied, or stolen. They could mimic your style, copy your words, even steal your entire blueprint, but it wouldn't matter. They'd still be missing the one thing they can never fake: presence. Me, being the chosen one, never needed to announce it. A throne is still a throne, whether the room recognizes it or not. And you are walking proof of that. Understand this. People fear what they don't understand, and nothing is more terrifying to them than someone who moves with power they can't explain. They're used to power coming from titles, connections, or brute force. But your power, it doesn't play by their rules. It just is. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't need validation. And most importantly, it doesn't bow. And that is why they watch. They watch because they can't stand that you don't seek their approval. They watch because they don't understand how you move with such confidence when you weren't given permission to be great. They watch because you expose the lie they've been telling themselves. That authority comes from the outside, when in reality, it's either in you or it's not. They try to ignore you. They try to downplay your presence. They even try to discredit you, whispering to each other, "Who does he think he is?" But the truth, they're asking the wrong question. The real question burning in their minds is this: why does he have what I don't? Because they see it, they feel it, and no matter how much they hate to admit it, they know. Your authority forces them to confront their own weakness. You see, most people are slaves to the system around them. They take orders, they follow trends, they seek permission to exist the way they want. They are prisoners in a cage they built themselves. And then you come along. You don't ask for anything. You take up space. You move like you belong in every room you enter. You don't need validation to make decisions. You trust yourself. You believe in something greater, and it shows in the way you carry yourself. That shakes them to their core, because now they have to confront something ugly. They have to admit that they could have done the same, that they could have stepped into their own power, that they could have walked their own path, but they didn't. And instead of learning from you, instead of rising to your level, most of them will take the easy way out. They'll call you arrogant. They'll question your right to be in the room. They'll challenge you, hoping to knock you off your throne so they don't have to question why they're still on the floor. They watch you because they wish they had what you have, but they don't. And that eats them alive. And you? What do? You hesitate. You shrink. You start doubting yourself just because their eyes are burning into your back. You think, maybe I should tone it down. Maybe I'm being too much. Maybe I should make them comfortable. Foolish. Since when does a mountain apologize for being tall? Since when does fire apologize for burning? Since when does a king apologize for his throne? Me, being the chosen one, never needed their permission. And neither do you. So stop waiting for them to get it. They never will. Stop shrinking so they feel better about their own weakness. That's not your burden to carry. Stop playing small. Your authority isn't yours to give away. It wasn't earned by begging for approval. It wasn't built on validation from people too weak to claim their own power. It was placed on you, and nothing they do will ever change that. So let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them choke on their jealousy. Because no matter how hard they try to ignore it, one truth will always remain. You were built different, and they know it. Number 3, you drown in fire and come out reborn. Some are built for sunshine, others are forged in storms, and when the flood comes, only one survives. They see you standing where they would have collapsed. They watch as you walk through the fire that would have burned them alive, and they can't comprehend it. They don't understand how you thrive in chaos, how you stand tall in the winds that rip others apart. And that terrifies them, because deep down they know they wouldn't have made it. Most people fear the storm. They beg for easy roads, smooth sailing, a life free from struggle. And when the inevitable comes, when life hits hard, when things fall apart, when the storm rages, they shatter, they break, they surrender. They let the wind take them wherever it pleases. They were never built for the fire. And then there's you. You don't just survive the storm, you rise inside it. You take the hits, you get knocked down, you bleed, you struggle, but you always get back up. And not just to stand in the same place. No, you rise stronger, smarter, sharper. Where others see devastation, you see transformation. Me, being the chosen one, never feared the storm, because I knew I am the storm. And that's what keeps them watching. Number 4, they want your strength without your struggle. They want to know how you keep going when everything is against you, how you stand firm when the ground is shaking beneath your feet, how you face loss, betrayal, failure, and somehow, instead of breaking, you build. And yet, here's the part they refuse to accept. Your strength wasn't handed to you, it was earned. You didn't wake up one day with resilience written into your bones. You bled for it, you suffered for it, you lost everything and still kept going. They want your power, but they would never survive your path. They want the wisdom, the endurance, the unshakable presence, but they don't want the fire that built it. They envy the way you stand, but they would never endure what it took to get there. And they know that. That's why they hate you. They don't just watch because they're curious. They watch because they're conflicted. You are proof that strength is possible, that endurance exists, that they had the same chance, but they chose comfort while you chose war. And now they can't ignore what you've become. They've spent their lives running from pain, avoiding struggle, fearing failure. They've built their entire identity around staying safe, keeping their head down, following the easiest path. And then you appear, a living contradiction to everything they believed. You stand there, scarred but undefeated. You didn't run, you didn't break. You let the storms crush you, burn you, tear you apart. And yet, you are still here. And not just standing, but thriving. They see you, and suddenly, they have no excuse. Suddenly, their lies about life being too hard, too unfair, too painful to fight through, fall apart. Because here you are, a walking example that storms don't destroy the strong. They build them, and they can't handle it. They watch, hoping you'll finally break, hoping you'll finally collapse, so they can justify their own weakness, so they can say, "See, no one can endure forever." But you disappoint them every time, because you don't just endure, you conquer, and nothing enrages them more than knowing they will never be able to do the same. And yet, despite all this, some of you still don't see it. Some of you still sit there, wondering why they don't support you, why they whisper, why they secretly hope you fail. Wake up. You keep seeking approval from those who could never walk your path. You waste time explaining yourself to people who have already chosen to stay weak. For what? Validation, acceptance, love. Me, being the chosen one, never begged for acceptance. I never questioned why the weak feared my presence. That is their burden, not mine. And it's not yours either. Stop apologizing for surviving what would have killed them. Stop toning down your power just to make them comfortable. Stop looking back, waiting for them to catch up. They never will. They will always choose the easy path. They will always fear the fire. And you were made for it. So stop hesitating, stop questioning, stop seeking the approval of those who will never understand. They watch because they know you are something they can never be. So let them watch, let them whisper, let them pray for your downfall, because when the next storm comes, they will drown, and you will rise. Number 5, you don't just fall, you rise, and that's what kills them. The fall only matters to those who stay down. The real ones turn the dirt into their throne. They are watching, not just when you win, but especially when you lose. They aren't just spectators, they are vultures, circling, waiting for your downfall to be permanent. They tell themselves that you are just like them, that you will break, that you will finally become small enough to fit into the world they understand. But then you don't. You stumble, but you don't stay down. You crash, but you stand up again. You take a hit, and instead of crawling into the shadows like they expect, you come back sharper, stronger, more dangerous than before. And that drives them insane, because your failures were supposed to end you. They were supposed to be the moment you lost your power, the moment they could finally say, "See, he's just like the rest of us." But you refuse to play by their rules. You refuse to break the way they do. And now, they don't know what to do with you. They watched your downfall like it was their favorite show, waiting for the credits to roll. But the episode never ended. You turned it into a plot twist, a rebirth, a new level of power they can't comprehend. And that's why they keep watching. Me, being the chosen one, never feared failure. Why would I? Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the raw material that builds it. Every loss, every setback, every betrayal, that's just fuel. That's just another lesson, another scar that turns into armor, another chapter in a story they will never have the courage to write for themselves. But you keep missing the point. You keep worrying about why they focus so much on your failures. You keep wondering why they act different when you struggle, why their smiles turn smug, why their words suddenly drip with fake concern. Wake up. They don't watch because they care. They watch because they need to see you fail. They need to believe that even the strongest can break, because if you can't, then what does that say about them? They need your downfall to be real so they can justify never trying in the first place. That's why they lean in when things go wrong for you. That's why their interest spikes the moment they smell blood in the water. But here's the part they never see coming. Your wounds don't make you weaker. They turn you into something they can't even recognize. And when you rise, it's not just a comeback. It's a transformation. It's a reminder that they will never understand what it means to be built for war. They want to see you defeated, because watching you stand up again forces them to face the ugliest truth of all. They never had to stay on the ground. And now, they have to live with the knowledge that they chose to. So let them watch. Let them fixate on your failures. Let them whisper, analyze, and wait for the moment you stay down. Because the second you get back up, it's already too late for them. They don't even realize it yet, but every time you rise, you take a piece of their excuses with you. Number 6, you walk with shadows that terrify them. Some men walk alone, others walk with the weight of unseen power, and that power is what makes the weak tremble. They watch you, but they don't even know what they're watching. It's not just your confidence. It's not just your resilience. It's something bigger, heavier, unexplainable. They feel it before they understand it. They sense it before they can even put words to it. You don't just move through life. You move with something behind you, an unseen force, an undeniable presence, a silent army that walks when you walk, stands when you stand, fights when you fight. And even though their eyes can't see it, their souls can feel it, and it shakes them to the core. They see the way doors fly open for you while they stay locked for everyone else. They see how the same obstacles that break others barely slow you down. They watch you walk through chaos, betrayal, battles that should have destroyed you, and yet you don't just survive, you thrive. How? They want to know. They need to know. They sit there confused, watching you win wars you never even had to fight. They wonder why situations that should have crushed you only positioned you higher. They don't get it, because it wasn't meant for them to get. Some call it luck, others call it fate. But deep down, they know the truth. They know that something powerful, untouchable, unseen, is working in your favor, and that terrifies them. Let's get something straight. You were never supposed to make it this far. Everything that was sent to break you, crush you, humiliate you, wipe you off the map, it should have worked. By every logical reason, you shouldn't be here. But here you are, stronger, louder, unshaken. And that is why they keep watching. They saw you go through hell and come out looking like you never even stepped in the fire. They saw you lose everything, only to rise higher than before. They saw you take blows that should have left scars, yet you walk like nothing touched you. That doesn't just make them curious, it makes them sick. Because if you can do it, what does that say about them? What does it say about the excuses they made, the times they gave up when it got hard, the days they chose to sit in their weakness instead of standing in their power? Your life forces them to confront something ugly that maybe, just maybe, the only thing holding them back was themselves. And instead of learning from you, instead of rising to meet their own potential, they choose the easy way out. They hate, they mock, they watch, because deep down they wish they had what you have. But they don't, because me, being the chosen one, never needed their permission. They won't say it out loud, but every time they see you, they're searching for the answer. Why does everything align for you? Why do you keep winning? Why do you never fall the way they do? They want the answer. They crave the answer. But here's the truth, there is no shortcut. Because what you carry can't be copied. You don't have to manipulate people. You don't have to chase validation. You don't have to force doors open. Because a power far greater than them has already cleared the path for you. And they know it. They see the way you move with a quiet assurance, an unshaken certainty, as if you already know how the story ends. And that is something they will never understand. Because they have spent their whole lives fighting for scraps, begging for opportunities, forcing their way into spaces where they were never meant to be. But you were always meant to be there. You don't fight for a seat at the table. The table shifts when you arrive. And that is why they keep watching. They want to unlock the mystery, steal the formula, figure out what makes you untouchable. But here's the truth, they never will. And here you are, worried about their opinions, questioning yourself, wondering if you should tone it down, play small, make them comfortable. Foolish. Since when does a tidal wave apologize for drowning the weak? Since when does lightning ask for permission before it strikes? Since when does a storm bow before the trees it was meant to destroy? Me, being the chosen one, never asked for their understanding, and neither should you. So let them watch, let them obsess, copy, whisper, let them choke on their jealousy. Because no matter how much they try to deny it, no matter how hard they try to figure it out, one truth will always haunt them. You walk with power they will never touch, and they know it. Number 7. Your joy is the weapon they can't disarm. The world wants you bitter, broken, and afraid. Smiling in the face of chaos is the greatest act of defiance. They don't understand you. They don't understand how you can laugh when there's nothing to laugh about. Smile when the world gives you every reason to frown. Stand tall when life keeps throwing storms your way. It doesn't make sense to them, and that's exactly why they can't stop watching. Because in their world, joy is something you earn after suffering, after struggling, after proving yourself worthy. But you don't play by those rules. You wake up and choose joy every single day, no matter what. And that pisses them off. They want to see you crumble. They want to see you weighed down by the same darkness they drown in. Misery loves company, and you refuse to RSVP. They can't handle the fact that while they let the weight of the world crush them, you walk through fire and come out laughing. You've been through hell, but hell never touched your spirit. You've had days where everything should have broken you, but instead, you woke up the next morning even stronger. And they saw it. They were waiting for the moment you'd snap, shatter, collapse under the pressure. But it never came. And that scares them more than anything. They need to believe that joy is something only certain people get to have. The rich, the privileged, the lucky. They tell themselves that people like you shouldn't be able to smile, shouldn't be able to walk with that light in your eyes, shouldn't be able to carry peace like its armor. Because if you can do it, if you can laugh, thrive, and stand firm despite everything, then what does that say about them? It says they've been lying to themselves. It says they chose to be miserable. It says they could have fought for something better, but instead they let the world break them. And instead of rising, instead of learning from you, they hate, they stare, they whisper, they roll their eyes at your joy, because deep down, they wish they had it. Me, being the chosen one, never needed the world's approval to be happy. Why should I? Why should you? They want you angry. They want you bitter. They want you exhausted, hopeless, and just as broken as they are. That's the only way they can justify their own misery, by seeing you sink into it too. But you won't. You keep standing, you keep smiling, you keep walking like someone who already won the war. And that is what keeps them watching. They will never understand it. They think joy is about circumstances. They think peace is something you can only have when everything is going your way. But your joy isn't tied to conditions. Your peace isn't tied to whether the world is falling apart or not. It's something unshaken, something unbreakable. And no matter how hard they try, they will never figure out how you do it. They'll tell themselves it's fake. They'll tell themselves you're naive, you're pretending, you're blind to reality. But deep down, they know the truth. They know you see everything they see. You feel the same pain, the same losses, the same weight of the world pressing down. You just refuse to be owned by it. And that is what makes them furious. Because that means they had a choice too. They could have stood up. They could have chosen joy instead of cynicism, peace instead of chaos, faith instead of fear. But they didn't. And the worst part, you prove to them every single day that they still can. That's why they watch. Not because they understand you, not because they support you, but because deep down, your existence is a reminder of what they could have been. You thrive in a world that tells you you shouldn't. You rise when everything says you should fall. You laugh when others are screaming. You win, and they don't know how. And no matter how much they try to ignore it, they will never, ever stop watching. Number 8, you are living proof that what they call impossible is possible. Some dream, some wish, Some spend their lives hoping. And then there are those who simply make it happen. They watch you because your life is the walking, breathing proof that everything they swore was out of reach is actually attainable. While they sit back, hesitating, doubting, overthinking, you are out there doing it. The success, the opportunities, the connections, the growth, they see it all unfolding for you, and deep down, it eats at them. Because if you can have it, why not them? They don't just watch out of curiosity. They watch with that sinking, bitter feeling, the realization that maybe, just maybe, they were the ones standing in their own way all along. They told themselves certain things were only for the lucky, the privileged, the chosen few. They convinced themselves that success was about timing, connections, or fate. But then you show up, breaking every rule, proving every excuse wrong, making things happen while they sit and wait. And that's when the resentment starts. They start questioning, why you? Why not them? They tell themselves it's luck, an unfair advantage, something beyond their control. They try to rationalize why doors open for you and not for them. But deep down, they know the truth. You're willing to do what they never had the courage to. You don't hesitate, you move. You don't sit around waiting for the right moment. You create the moment. You don't spend years overanalyzing. You take the risk. And that is why they watch. They are obsessed with how you make things happen when they've been stuck in the same place for years. They want the secret. They think if they study you long enough, they'll unlock the formula. Maybe if they observe your every step, they can figure out why things fall into place for you. But here's what they don't understand. It's not a secret. It's not a shortcut. It's not about luck or fate or being in the right place at the right time. It's about mindset. It's about movement. It's about the fact that you refuse to let fear or self-doubt keep you frozen in place like they do. They see you landing opportunities they only daydream about. They watch as you turn obstacles into stepping stones. They see how you face rejection, setbacks, and failures. But instead of stopping, you keep moving. And that destroys them, because they realize it was never the world holding them back. It was them. And now, instead of using you as proof that it's possible, instead of stepping up and making a change, they sit in their bitterness, watching you rise higher. That's why they can't stop watching. Not because they support you, not because they admire you, but because they need to know how far you'll go. They need to see if you'll crash, if you'll slow down, if you'll ever fall back to where they are, so they can convince themselves that they were right to play it safe. But me, being the chosen one, never needed their approval, their support, or their understanding. And neither do you. They want what you have, but they will never do what you did to get it. They want the success, but refuse to take the risks. They want the outcome, but avoid the effort. They want the win without ever stepping onto the battlefield. And that's why they'll stay exactly where they are, watching you from the sidelines, studying your every move, too afraid to step into the arena themselves. Let them watch. Let them doubt. Let them analyze every move you make. It changes nothing, because while they waste their energy trying to figure out the secret, you'll be too busy making the impossible look easy. Number 9, your confidence is a silent threat. The strongest ones never shout. They never beg to be seen. They simply exist, and that alone makes the weak uneasy. They watch you, not because you're trying to be seen, but because they can't ignore you. You don't demand attention. You don't beg for approval. Yet, every room you walk into bends to your presence. It's not about arrogance. It's not about dominance. It's something far more dangerous to them: certainty. You move like someone who already knows how the story ends. You don't scramble for validation. You don't wait for applause. You don't need permission. And in a world where most people are trapped in self-doubt, begging for the approval of others just to feel worthy, that makes you an enigma. It makes you a problem. They can't figure out how you remain so sure of yourself when everything around you is built to make people doubt. How you don't hesitate when they would freeze. How you don't shrink under pressure when they would break. They watch you because they're trying to find the cracks. They study you, trying to pinpoint the moment you'll slip, the second your confidence wavers. Because if they see you falter, they can tell themselves that their weakness is normal. That playing small, seeking validation, and second-guessing everything they do is just how life is supposed to be. But you don't break. And that eats them alive. Because every moment you stand firm, every time you move forward without hesitation, every time you refuse to bow to insecurity, you remind them of everything they lack. They hate how effortless it looks. They need to believe you're faking it, because if you're not, if your confidence is real, unshaken, untouchable, that means their doubt, their hesitation, their desperate need for approval was always a choice. And nothing scares them more than that realization. They try to pick apart your confidence, dissect it, reverse engineer it, but they fail every time. Because your power doesn't come from the same cheap sources they rely on. You don't build your self-worth on other people's opinions. You don't crumble when you're not praised. You don't rely on applause to remind you of who you are. And that's what makes you untouchable. Me, being the chosen one, never needed a crowd to tell me I was powerful. And neither do you. They want to believe that confidence comes from being admired, from being followed, from having people tell you how great you are, but you prove them wrong every single day. Your confidence is rooted in something deeper, something they can't see, touch, or control, and that makes them uncomfortable. They don't understand how you trust yourself so fully when they spend every moment doubting themselves. They tell themselves that confidence has to be loud, that real strength means being the biggest voice in the room, forcing respect, demanding recognition. But you move in silence. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. And that is why they can't look away. Because secretly, they wish they could be like you. They wish they could carry themselves with that same quiet, unshakable certainty. They wish they didn't have to beg for validation just to feel worthy. They wish they could walk through life without questioning their every move, but they won't admit it. Instead, they study you, they analyze you, they watch you from a distance, hoping they'll find the secret. But here's the truth. There is no secret. It was never about luck. It was never about being chosen. It was about deciding. You decided to trust yourself when they didn't. You decided to believe in your power instead of begging for proof. You decided to stop waiting for permission and just take what was yours. And now they watch. Because deep down, they wonder if they too could break free. If only they were brave enough to stop chasing applause and start moving with certainty. Let them watch. Let them question. Let them study every move you make. Because while they're busy analyzing, you'll be busy winning. Number 10, you are the mirror that exposes their weakness. Some people run from the truth. Others stand in front of it and have nowhere left to hide. They watch you, but not for the reasons they pretend. It's not admiration. It's not simple curiosity. It's fear. Because every time they see you, they're forced to face something they've spent their entire lives avoiding, the truth about themselves. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to call them out. Just by existing, you shine a light on the parts of themselves they'd rather keep buried. And that makes them uncomfortable. They've spent years building walls, making excuses, settling for less. They convince themselves that this, their limited, safe, predictable life, was all they could ever have. But then you show up, living proof that they were wrong. You are the reminder of what could have been. You reflect back the insecurities they thought they had hidden, the dreams they gave up on, the fears they told themselves weren't real. You walk with confidence, move with certainty, chase what you want without hesitation. And to them, that's not just inspiring, it's insulting, because it reminds them of every time they chose comfort over courage. You don't even mean to do it, you're just living, but your very existence forces them to ask the questions they've been running from. Why am I not doing more? Why am I holding myself back? Why do they have the guts to chase their potential, and I don't? And that's the last thing they want to face. Because it's easier, so much easier, to pretend everything is fine, to convince themselves that they never really wanted more, that they're content with mediocrity, that they're okay with the version of themselves they settled for. But you rip that illusion away, because every time they see you making moves, winning battles, refusing to be stopped, it shakes them. Every time you take a step forward, every time you prove that limits are nothing but a mindset, it reminds them of how long they've been standing still. And that is why they can't ignore you. They watch, hoping to find a flaw, a weakness, a reason to dismiss you. Because if they can prove to themselves that you're not that special, that you're just lucky, that you had an advantage, that your confidence is fake, then they don't have to change. But no matter how much they analyze, no matter how much they whisper, they can't find what they're looking for. Because your success wasn't handed to you. Your confidence isn't an act. Your power is real. And that terrifies them. Me, being the chosen one, never needed them to understand why I move the way I do. And neither do you. They think if they watch you long enough, they'll find the missing piece. That if they figure out what makes you different, they can finally unlock what's been holding them back. But they won't. Because the difference isn't in the process, it's in the mindset. You refuse to accept less. You refuse to live in fear. You refuse to let doubt, hesitation, or outside noise dictate what's possible. And they gave up before they even started. So let them watch, let them study, let them drown in their own frustration. Because while they waste time analyzing, you'll be too busy becoming everything they were too afraid to be. Number 11. You carry a weight that would crush them. Some crumble under pressure, others turn it into fuel. The difference is what you're built for. They watch you because they feel it, the weight, the responsibility, the sheer gravity of what you carry. You don't have to say a word. It's in the way you move, the way you handle things they would collapse under. They don't understand how you keep going, how you remain standing when life has thrown everything at you. Most people break under half the pressure you face. They fold at the first sign of struggle. They crack under expectations that don't even come close to what you deal with daily. But you don't just survive. You carry it all and still move forward. And that terrifies them. They watch, waiting for you to stumble, for you to finally collapse under the weight. But you never do. You keep walking, keep pushing, keep rising, while they sit on the sidelines wondering how the hell you haven't fallen yet. What they don't realize is that the strength they're so obsessed with was never optional. You didn't choose this weight. It chose you. And while they would have shattered beneath it, you were built to carry it. Me, being the chosen one, never expected it to be easy. And neither should you. So let them watch. Let them marvel. Let them whisper about how you do it. Because while they sit in their comfort, you are carrying what they never could. and that's what keeps them glued to your every move. Number 12. Your success is an equation they can't solve. Some follow the rules, some break them, and then there are those who make the rules irrelevant. They watch you with frustration, trying to piece together how the hell you keep winning. By their logic, you should have failed. The obstacles should have stopped you. The odds should have buried you. Yet, here you are, rising, winning, breaking through barriers they swore were unbreakable. And it's not a one-time fluke. It's a pattern, a consistent defiance of their so-called reality. They keep waiting for you to stumble, to hit the wall, to finally prove them right. But every time life throws an impossible situation at you, you bend the rules and make it work in your favor. That drives them insane, because from the outside, it doesn't make sense. You weren't handed the advantages they rely on. You didn't take the same safe, predictable path they followed. You don't play by their rules, and yet you keep winning. They scramble for an explanation. Luck. Coincidence? A hidden advantage? No, it's something else. Something they'll never understand. Because you don't move like them. You don't wait for approval. You don't let fear dictate your steps. You see opportunities where they see dead ends. You take risks they would never dare. And that puts you in a different league. So let them analyze, question, and doubt. While they're busy trying to solve the mystery of your success, you'll be too busy creating more of it. Number 13. You make their safe, little world feel small. The masses follow rules, the powerful rewrite them. They were taught that life follows a script. Go to school, get a job, follow the system, stay in line. They were told that success looks a certain way, that happiness has a formula, that purpose is something you stumble upon if you play by the rules. And then you show up, shattering every expectation, breaking every mold, making their so-called normal look like a prison. You don't fit into their labels. You don't move like they do. You don't hesitate, wait for permission, or follow the map they were handed. You are the exception, not the rule. And that makes them uncomfortable. They've spent their whole lives believing that success, power, and fulfillment belong only to those who follow the blueprint. Then they see you doing it your own way, winning without asking, thriving without conforming, moving with a freedom they've never known. And now, they're questioning everything. If you can do it without following their path, then what does that say about the limits they've accepted? What if normal was never real to begin with? They can't stop watching because you're living proof that the box they've been living in was never locked, that the rules they follow are a choice, not a requirement. And deep down, they wonder, what could be possible if they had the courage to break free too? Number 14. You are proof that their logic is a lie. Some people need to see it to believe it, but when they see you, they still can't explain it. They trust what they can measure, what they can analyze, what makes sense in their small, predictable world. Then you show up, proving with every step you take that their logic is a lie. You move through life like the rules don't apply to you, and maybe they don't. Because while they struggle to make sense of every little thing, while they demand proof before they act, while they sit around waiting for the perfect conditions, you just move. And when you move, things shift. Doors open, obstacles crumble, opportunities appear where they shouldn't. They can't explain it, they can't rationalize it, but they see it. They watch you succeed where others have failed. They see you walk through setbacks like they're just part of the plan. They see you rise from situations that should have buried you, and it makes them question everything they thought they knew. Because according to their logic, you shouldn't be winning like this. You shouldn't be walking through impossible situations like they're nothing. You shouldn't be here, but you are. And that drives them insane. They've spent their whole lives believing that reality is cold, calculated, and predictable. That success only comes to those who follow a certain formula, that if you don't have the right connections, the right background, the right circumstances, you'll never make it. Then you come along and burn that illusion to the ground. You are a walking contradiction, a reminder that there's more happening behind the scenes than they can understand. That some people, like you, move differently. That some people seem to bend reality to their will. They try to explain it away. Luck, coincidence, random chance. But no matter how many excuses they make, they can't deny what they're seeing with their own eyes. Me, being the chosen one, never needed them to understand why things align for me the way they do. And neither do you. They watch you because your existence threatens their entire belief system. You prove that the impossible is only impossible for those who accept limits. That there's a level of life beyond what they've been taught to expect. And that's why they can't look away. They're desperate to figure it out. Desperate to find the trick, the secret, the loophole. But there is no trick. You don't operate by their rules, you never did. So let them watch. Let them doubt. Let them tell themselves you're just lucky. Because while they waste time trying to explain you, you'll be too busy breaking the next rule they swore couldn't be broken. And now you know. This is why they watch. Not out of admiration, not out of indifference, but because your existence disrupts everything they thought they knew. You are the proof they wish they could ignore, the reminder they can't escape. And whether they love you, hate you, or pretend not to see you, one thing is certain: they will never forget you. If you feel this, if you know you're different, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop number 77 in the comments. Share this with another chosen one, because the ones who need this message will feel it in their bones.